Hello, West Covina and friends thereof. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Thursday night Bible study, which this year we are calling Words to the Wise. We are going through the wisdom literature of Proverbs, Song of Songs, and Ecclesiastes, not in that order. I'm Pastor Jillian from West Covina Hills, and this is
Isai. Hello.
Pastor Isai, also from West Covina Hills. We are the associates. We are the associates. We have fun. So tonight we are getting into chapter 17, which has some of the most iconic proverbs in Proverbs. Would you open us up with a word of prayers?
Yes, let's do it. Father in heaven, God, you are our ultimate leader, our guide, Lord, as we want to pursue wisdom, as we follow you, Lord. Help us to learn in this chapter what it is that you have for us. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So last week, Pastor Isai led us through the chapter 16's kind of examination of where authority is in different parts of life. You know, the first 10 verses of chapter 16 talk about how even though we have free will, God still has guardrails. We're almost lit quite nice with the classroom lights coming out like that with the natural light. Oh, these lights. This adds a little local color here. And then it talks a bit about kings, and then about different other things that drive us, like wisdom and folly and words. And it's just different kind of wider societal forms of authority. Yes. Chapter 17 gets personal. It's all about your personal relationships. And at least to my eyes, it doesn't seem to be as neatly organized into clumps of verses as 16 is, so we will do our best here.
Nice.
So the first one is just like, better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. Oh man.
Mine says better is a dry morsel. I think a morsel gives me like a visual, at least, of like crumbs. But a dry crust is like, when everybody's fighting around
you, the food just doesn't taste as good. Yeah. Just a fascinating descriptive truth. If you're gonna fight, make up before dinner time. Verse 2, a wise servant will rule over a disgraceful son and will share the inheritance as one of the brothers. Savage, but true. Verse 3, the crucible for silver and the furnace for gold, but God tests the heart. I want to pause here for a second. Because this talks about how things get refined. If you're unaware of it, a crucible is a metal cup in which metals are broken down. Now, what do they make a crucible out of that it doesn't break down with the metal inside of it? It all has to do with stuff that people with a better knowledge of thermodynamics than me are good at. I'm just parroting what I saw the chemistry professor at PUC do once. He had a crucible made of platinum to show us once that they use for some kinds of things. But it's a process that involves a great deal of heat. And same with the furnace for gold. So there's this sense of how impurities get cast out aside, and these two specific metaphors hint that the process can be a bit painful, but ultimately add value to our lives. And it's a very beautiful idea.
And I love that, there's a refining pot, a furnace for these metals, but God is the one that's refining our hearts.
Yes.
He's the one that's testing our character, helping our character be molded better.
The next two verses are actually kind of grouped together because they are all about our relationship to how we interact in conversation. Verse 4, a wicked man listens to evil lips, a liar pays attention to a malicious tongue. He who mocks the poor shows contempt for their maker. Whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. So we talked a little bit about this in our last study about how even if we're just bystanders watching the proud fall, there are consequences for that attitude. In the great famous love chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, it talks about how love never delights in wrong. And that includes, it just doesn't like watching people suffer, you know? And that includes whether it's talking about malicious gossip or about those who are down on their luck, disaster, the poor. Few things irritated me quite as much as when people were gloating over the Pacific Palisades fires, saying that California wildfires were deserved because of the excesses of the wealthy. And I'm all like, look, the wealthy aren't the only people who live in these wildfire zones. And even if they are, not all of them should be painted with the same brush.
Right.
And it just, every time that there is a natural disaster and there's people who are rejoicing over it, it makes me ill. Let's try not to be that person. Just let's not be that guy.
No.
And I hate it that this happens a lot in church, exploiting natural disasters to say that God is punishing this or that city. I remember when Hurricane Katrina came around.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Huge, horrible disaster that wiped out so much of New Orleans, and some people were saying it was a punishment visited on them for all of the excesses of Mardi Gras and you know, indigenous forms of witchcraft and
whatever.
debauchery and whatever. It's like, excuse me, the children who were displaced by that did not participate in any of that. Yeah. And speaking of children, you know, let's
sorry, I wanted to add one quick thing, because I something that stood out to me in verse 5 is mocking the poor reproaches his maker. Just stands out to me that sometimes we think we're talking about that person, you know, whether it is the poor, like you know, whatever, or the rich, as you were mentioning in Palisades, but also thinking about the maker God who has made them. He is we're also reproaching, making fun of, making a joke out of God. We sometimes think like, they are not saved, or they're not in good standing with God. But regardless of whatever we perceive as someone's relationship with God, they are still made by God. And you know, God says that they're
still made in God's
His image. Yes. And when we are making fun of others or treating others as a joke, we are really making fun of the maker.
Right.
So it really puts that in perspective to me. It's that mocking others is also insulting the Creator.
Yeah. When I was in college, there was someone who was on the platform a lot. I won't name them just in case they happen upon this in the internet. But if they do see it, they'll know what I'm talking about, because we made it right. My friends and I were in the habit of watching them and making fun of some of the way that he would address from the platform. And finally, one day, we were all sitting together talking about this, and we went, wait a second, we're terrible people. Because we're here sitting here making fun of this guy who possibly has no idea that he has all these speaking tics. And if we were really friends of his, we would actually tell him what's up so that he could improve, instead of sitting here making fun of him week after week, and do it kindly. If we actually want an improvement here, you know? And so we actually went to him. We had a conversation about it. And it was incredibly transformative.
Wow.
We were afraid that he would take it as being like, oh, these awful people who notice this, and this about the way I speak. But he actually went, thank you for actually being honest with me. And he took the notes. His platform demeanor improved significantly. He went from almost apologizing for being up there to taking command of the room in a way that we were so proud to see. And you know, mockery of any kind is unproductive. If there really is something that could use improvement, it's far better to go to that person in love and say it directly to their face so they can do something about it than to murmur behind their back.
Absolutely.
You know?
And compassion will lead to something so much better than it says. Being glad at calamity leads to punishment. So having compassion is a better choice that will lead to better things, like what your story was saying. And then to quickly change gears for one verse, children's children are a crown to the aged, and parents are the pride of their children. It's just a sweet little portrait of, it's like, when I was 17, my grandmother's all like,
Julian, little Julie, when will I have great grandchildren? All of my friends have grandchildren. And I look her in the eye and I'm like, Grandma, I'm 17. Do you really want me to start now? And she just laughed her head off. But this is talking about the beautiful connection of legacy and origin. Grandchildren represent, there's something that will last beyond me. Parents represent, this is what came before me. These are the people who made me who I am. Both form so much of our identity.
Yes.
A big part of why grandparents are so ridiculously proud of their grandchildren and always like, here they are in my wallet, here they are on Facebook, is because this is the part of them that will last into the future after they're gone.
Yeah.
And for those of us who have parents who are beginning to age, there's this pride of, you made me who I am. I hear you coming out of my mouth. And now that I'm older, I understand you more than I did a decade ago. It's kind of funny that the older you get, with a brief drop off around college and right after, but after that, the older you get, the more you appreciate your parents.
Yes.
That they weren't perfect, but they were doing the absolute best you can.
Yes.
Because as you age into the age that they were when they were parenting you, you go, man, they really were doing the best they could, weren't they? I'm proud of them for doing as well as they did, even if they didn't get everything right.
You're so right on that. I've recognized that about, I'm at the age where recognize that at this age, my parents did these many sacrifices and they did these huge things in their life where, wow, if I uprooted my life and went to another country, like how big of a change that would be. But now I also feel like, to make my parents proud, to continue their legacy. And I know, my mom was on the phone with my grandma recently. She's so proud of me. And it's, that legacy of knowing like, wow, like our family is seen in this way, that it continues on.
Yeah. And then it completely changes gears again. Like, really? Okay. No disrespect to the ancients who compiled this volume, but there are other chapters that have more internal coherence than this one. Verse 7, arrogant lips are unsuited to a fool, how much worse lying lips to a ruler. A bribe is a charm to the one who gives it. Wherever he turns, he succeeds. So this is all about manipulations and what does and doesn't work. The bit about the bribe is like, I've heard people ask, so is this saying we should bribe people or just describing what happens when you give a bribe? I don't know. The line between gift and bribe can be very, very, very thin sometimes.
Absolutely. Even love languages. Sometimes we give love because we want love in return in the way that we prefer love.
Right.
It's interesting that your version says bribe, but mine says a present. So it's like a gift.
Okay.
So
see?
even in that sense, but it's still like there's a gift, but it comes with it's attached to something that I want something in return. But I don't know if I like the word bribe more or gift, but there is something that's like it's something that is great for the person receiving it, and when he receives it, it's great, and when he returns it, it's also prospering. So it's like a gift is meant to be paid forward or given back. But it's a relationship that is at least on that level of like prospering mutually.
What I can say about gifts is that both ones that I've received and ones that I've given, what's unique about gifts from other kinds of love languages is that they stay with the person even when that person cannot physically be with them. Every once in a while, I'll visit a church member's home and see something there. I'm like, I forgot that came from me. Oh, there that is. Hello. But quite more often, because gifting is not actually my dominant love language. It's in my bag of tricks, but it's not my absolute. It's not my absolute strongest one.
Yeah.
I tend to be a bit more effusive with words, But there are things in my office that come even from churches that I've been at before this, which was a very long time ago. By the time you listen to this, I will have been at this church for a decade. That just remind me of the care and love of those people that still mean something to me after all this time, even if they may have forgotten that they ever gave the thing to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
It's almost more of the relationship that it's attached to, and the fondness of that relationship, the people, that is more of the gift really than the material thing, because it's something that has just been a seed into like so much nourishment, positivity, that you hold on to that.
Yeah, and I can't hang, because I only have so much office space, I can't hang on to every gift that every church member ever gives me. Quite a few of them have found their way to the donation bin over the years, but it means something that someone thought of you enough to think of you when you were not physically present, and to give you something to remind you of them when they are not physically present. It's a beautiful thing. Verse 9, he who covers over an offense promotes love, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends. To me, this feels like code for choose your battles, because there's some things where you do need to call people on it, but, you know, on a lot of things, you just need to make like Elsa and let it go. Just let it go. Life's too short to sweat the small slights. I've heard so many people waste so much thought energy getting bent out of shape about something like, so-and-so didn't say hello to me. Do they hate me now?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things where, and I think if we don't address those things, whether it's in the moment or we choose to let them go in the moment, we hold on to something that we might recognize, Thanksgiving 10 years ago, someone did something to me, or we just choose to let it go. And when we let it go, we are choosing to preserve a friendship.
Sorry, you went there. You mentioned Thanksgiving.
I know. It's because I wanted to also mention Thanksgiving
10 years
earlier.
is a very short time in terms of things that happen with Thanksgivings. It's not my story to tell, so I won't tell it here.
I was referring to.
I know you're listening. You know what I'm thinking about. It's time to let it go. Yeah. It's been a long, long time.
I guess verse 1 made me think of Thanksgiving. The house full of feasting with strife.
Right.
But I think of I've also been doing my own self-work to recognize when we hold on to something, even if it's a bad feeling, we might forget, they said something that hurt me, did something, ignored, hurt, caused pain. We might forget that specific thing, but if we hold on to that pain, we are chipping away at a relationship. And it's those inches of distance that are being built between you and that other person. Even it could even be close friend, it could even be your spouse, but if you are choosing to hold on to a hurt, you're also creating a hurt in the relationship.
Right.
So when you recognize, that person said something that was passive aggressive and mean, but I love them, so I'm gonna let it go. They might just had a bad day. You're choosing love and to build a relationship rather than to have these little strife, build wedges between you that will later on
can last for decades.
Yeah. And you forgot why, but now you have a hurt relationship.
Or you remember exactly why, but the other people involved forgot about it as soon as it happened.
Yep.
Which brings me to the next verse. A rebuke impresses a man of discernment more than 100 lashes a fool. Wow. So it's like if someone did something that really hurt you, it's better to actually bring it up right after it happens than to sit on it for years and years and let it bother you. Yeah.
Reminds me again, you were mentioning 1 Corinthians 13? Love keeps no record of wrong.
Yes.
100 lashes, I can almost imagine that that idea of thinking that I'm going to quantify something, but it doesn't need to be that way. We don't need to weaponize our own, hurts.
Yeah. Verse 11, an evil man is bent only on rebellion. A merciless official will be sent against him. It's a nice thought. Verse 12, better to meet a bear robbed of her cubs than a fool in his folly. I see tourists in Yosemite getting way too friendly with the bears, and they're lucky that most of the time there aren't cubs involved. If you ever see cubs involved, just don't. But it really illustrates how dangerous folly really is. Mm-hmm. Verse 13, if a man pays back evil for good, evil will never leave his house. You know, that's getting into how easy it is to get into those two-sided tiffs that never stop. Mm-hmm. So pay back, good where good has been done you the most you can, if only for self-preservation.
Yeah. I think that is why, why destroying evil with good is the best way, because if you're just doing more evil back, it doesn't really matter who started it. It's never going to end. It doesn't matter how it started, but it doesn't ever end if it's just a back and forth vicious cycle.
Yeah. I don't know why all of a sudden what came to mind is people who use rage baiting as a form of affection. Yeah. Come on, that's not cool. It may be entertaining, but it's not cool.
We see that so much in our church. I mean, we love our members, but there is so much of affection that is like a jab.
Right? I was just thinking about some junior high girls I was sent over to an academy to address a couple weeks ago. There was an actual issue where someone's friend was rage baiting them, and in return they slapped some fries and stuff on them, and it ended very badly. And so that is how a pastor that's from a church that they're not even connected to ended up doing a talk with them. Anyway, that actually segues well into the next verse, 14. Starting a quarrel is like breaching a dam, so drop the matter before a dispute breaks out. Just don't go rage baiting people. It can be fun for a small amount, but it can get out of hand very quickly.
I like how your version said, what is it? Opening a dam?
Breaching a dam.
Like that visual
of Hoover Dam,
water just pouring, high pressure. And there's no way to contain it.
Drip, 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 drip. That'll never stop.
Doesn't stop. Yeah, exactly. It's something that is hard to contain or stop, and it's gone.
Yes. 15. Acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent, the Lord detests them both. God cares about justice.
Yes.
Verse 16. Of what use is money in the hand of a fool, since he has no desire to get wisdom? All right. So I love it that this is bringing up how useless money really is in the hands of a fool. First of all, a fool will have a hard time getting money, right? Because it actually takes a certain level of intelligence to acquire money.
True.
Not always, but for most of the time, it takes some measure of intelligence to acquire money. Some people inherit it, but if they do not acquire wisdom, they will not keep it. It takes some wisdom to hang on to money. And so money can be useless if you don't know what to do with it wisely and well.
That's so true.
17, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity.
Love it. That's such a good one. That's so powerful. This has been one that has also stuck with me for so long. Yeah.
I mean, I've met your sister, and the bond the two of you have is fantastic. I can tell you have each other's backs.
Oh yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And yeah, even to talk about my sister and I have been there for each other, supported each other through some of the lowest lows of life and the highest highs, even if it's a personal matter or we've gone through it together. And some of the best friendships I've made in life that I've considered brothers, sisters, have been because there has been something that has really maybe even tested the friendship. There's been a struggle that has really brought friendships closer to become family.
Some of you know my backstory about losing my own brother when we were teenagers. And I'm not going to lie, it's not the main reason I went into ministry, but something that has kept me in ministry is being surrounded by really good colleagues who serve as found brothers. who have basically stepped into that role and been brothers to me, and we've been through so much, and it means so much to me. I know they're not watching this because they have their own stuff to record, because that's just how ministry is. But there's this deep affection that is family. It really is found family.
Almost, almost like a trauma bonding that is so tight. I can't pass this verse without also saying that I see this verse and talking about family relationships, but I think also, my wife has become something for me where, when we go through those hard times, it's really a choice that we make to keep loving, keep coming back to each other. It's not just for the good times, but it's also really in the hard times to choose love, even when it's being tested, when we get under each other's skin. When we choose love, it's really what also strengthens it, and it's something that has really been helpful also.
Hi, verse 18. A man lacking in judgment strikes hands in pledge and puts up security for his neighbor. Recently, Pastor JP sent us a link to how a pastor, did he actually end up in jail for recommending that someone co-sign a loan that ruined their finances and destroyed their marriage? Yeah. Okay. And he warned us not to give people personal financial advice because it ruined this pastor's career and life and everything. And possibly justifiably, because co-signing a loan is a very serious business, and there's more than one proverb, not just this one, that says it's a bad idea. There may be some circumstances, but choose very, very carefully who you co-sign for. Very, very carefully. Just don't do it, it's saying.
But I think also being careful in the promises we make. Not just being recklessly, giving out a promise, but also having our promise mean something, and being very, careful with it, that it will, not just be given out, but also, cautiously given out.
With nominating committee season upon us, it's a good reminder that just because someone asks doesn't mean you have to say yes. Count the cost, even if they're being really persistent because they want to get their call sheet done. It is okay to say no if you're actually looking at the situation and going, I just can't. Because it's better to do that than to be in office for a few months and go, and then we have to find someone all over again. Just saying. Since those calls are going out as we speak. Right as we speak, because these things go up on Thursdays at 7, and that's when nominating committee is doing its calling.
Watching right now.
You could be watching this right now and nominating committee calling you. Fantastic.
The few faithful that watch on premiere moments, yes.
I'm not sure many people do, but I know there's always at least a few the next day who have. Yeah. So, what verse were we on?
It was 18 or 19.
Yes. 19. He who loves a quarrel loves sin. He who builds a high gate invites destruction. Some people just love to argue. No. Arguing for entertainment's value is just, okay. 20. A man of perverse heart does not prosper. He whose tongue is deceitful falls into trouble. Again, just watch even a fraction of one episode of Survivor to see how that goes for people. Sometimes I even wonder about the ethics of watching Survivor, just because it's is it wrong for me to be getting entertainment value out of watching these people lie to each other and form alliances and break them, I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. Do you think that the writers of Proverbs would approve of watching a show that turns on broken alliances and lies? Let us know.
Let us know in the
comments. I really want to know what you think about this.
I definitely watch reality shows that are on that, and it is also walking away a little yucky, feeling like, did I just enjoy someone's downfall? Did I enjoy someone getting betrayed?
In the current season, because they're all seasoned players, it's the 50th anniversary one. There's a lot more people just sort of laughing at it and going, you got me. I'm proud of you. And they're very class acts about it. But every once in a while when someone gets voted out, they're just like, yeah. Yeah. So I have mixed feelings about this thing. But moving on. I'm getting very easily distracted this time. Okay. 21. To have a fool for a son brings grief. There is no joy for the father of a fool. There are few things as painful as a parent as watching your child. And I'm not even talking about me as a parent yet, because look, it's too early to tell whether my child's going to turn out to be wise or a fool. Too early to tell. He's only 3.5. But I've spent so much time as a pastor watching parents freak out about the crazy things their kids are doing. Teenagers, young adults. And the most common thing that I hear people pray about is their children. Yes. If they are of the age to have children, this is the most common thing I hear. And it is a great source of anxiety and stress. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's an answer to that in verse 22. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So there's a lot of legitimately stressful, worrying things going on. For some of you, it may be your children. For some of you, it's other things. But the idea of a cheerful heart isn't having this false toxic positivity. It's about a choice to cling to not succumb to despair, okay? It's all right to be genuinely upset by things, okay? That's normal. It's fine to have grief. This does not condemn the grief of the parent who has a foolish child. But this means don't give up. A cheerful heart does good like medicine means that you look for the good where you can and you cling to it. Yeah. And that will keep you going a lot longer than giving up. And that goes in so many areas of life.
I mean, this is a classic scripture song. It's so good. I think a merry heart, or I think even a cheerful heart, it is something. I love that you mentioned that it is a choice. Yeah. It's a choice that contributes to our emotional and even physical health.
Oh yeah.
It's a choice. Yeah, to choose joy doesn't ignore difficult circumstances, but it's choosing to live looking at joy. Yeah. And by doing so, it's receiving so much better life and giving joy towards others. It's choosing to live looking at the positive and recognizing that there is positive.
Yeah. Verse 23, a wicked man accepts a bribe in secret to pervert the course of justice. And we're back. Yes. So, on the one hand, gift good, bribe to mess up justice bad. The Bible is a complex and nuanced book that's able to hold seemingly contradictory things in tension at once, Verse 24, a discerning man keeps wisdom in view, but a fool's eyes wander to the ends of the earth. So this is about staying focused. Yeah. Some of us, God bless us, just happen to have a little thing called ADHD, so this can be difficult. But even if your attention happens to be capable of wandering, just make sure it doesn't wander away from wisdom.
Yeah. I think it's also, man, I was thinking the same thing, but I also think helping the wise person keep their priorities straight. That even in our wandering distraction, that we know what our priorities are.
Right.
In the daily and in the big picture goals. Keeping the priorities straight is important.
Yeah. Verse 25, a foolish son brings grief to his father and bitterness to the one who bore him. A repeat of the previous thought. Enough said. Verse 26, it is not good to punish an innocent man or to flog officials for their integrity. Where it keeps on repeating thoughts, it means that these things are very important.
Absolutely.
Verse 27, a man of knowledge uses words with restraint, and a man of understanding is even-tempered. So knowledge and understanding, actually tend to make you less of a talker about them. They tend to have you understanding more of the room so that you back off. I feel like the years where I was the most obnoxious communicator ever were right after I got out of college. Because, man, I thought I was so smart and I had all this stuff to share with people and just all the stuff. Even early on in my time at West Covina, when I was still relatively fresh out of seminary, I was obnoxious sometimes. I was just like, and this Greek and that Hebrew and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I was talking straight over the heads of the kids that I was there to serve. People say now that I'm so good with children, that does not come naturally. I've had to learn that stuff. I've had to watch Mr. Rogers. I've had to read books. I've had to do all kinds of things to learn how to talk to children intelligently. And I still mess it up sometimes. I'll catch myself using SAT level words on toddlers sometimes and go, oops. The more you learn about the world, the more restraint you'll have. Yeah. But you're at your most dangerous when you first have that level of when you first have a small body of knowledge that isn't common knowledge. Yeah. That's when you're most dangerous, when you're most likely to just go, blah, look at how smart I am.
Yeah, no.
But the more you learn after that, the less you talk about it and the more it informs how you speak to people.
Yeah. I think what really stood out to me about this is that really not every thought or every thing that you have to say about it, something needs to be voiced. And I think what just stands out is that in the way that we use our words, there is a part of our words that we are being careful with them, but we're also silent. To just silence is a way of displaying our wisdom. But I think in the silence, what I think of is a lot of times when I'm silent and I don't know how to answer this, I'm either praying or I'm active listening. I'm listening to what it is, what are the cues that I can speak to, and being careful towards that. And not just talking over the person so much. But I think there's a value in being silent and in allowing that silence to sit there and then being careful in the way that we speak.
Well, and that ties up this chapter with even a fool is thought wise if he keeps silent and discerning if he holds his tongue. I've always valued introverts as friends because these are people who don't like talking unless they have something to say. And so I value their words so much because when they talk, it means something. And I always get irritated when people talk over introverts in committee meetings because these are people who don't like to speak up. So when they speak up, it's actually because they have something to say. But this proverb reminds me of another one my father used to tell me when I was little. Better to be silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. I love that. There is so much wisdom in silently watching what's going on to get your bearings. Wait for it. With that said, let's have a word of prayer. Thank you for keeping with us on these two longish episodes for us, really. Yeah. It's been a joy to open up Proverbs with you. Lord God, thank you so much for giving us wise words to live by. And some of those words are simply to use fewer of them. I pray, Lord, that you will give us discernment and restraint and care in how we deal with other people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.